Look at that. HQ's all primed up, and you're probably wondering where the up is. Well, I'm going to show you that. Stay tuned. Alright, so I suppose where we start off is actually cleaning the car down, because in the last video you would have seen I actually had this one all masked up, all ready to go. I just had a little bit of final cleaning to do, and basically what I like to do is just use a air gun and clean rag. I don't like to use any prep sol just in case it gets into any of the filler work, that sort of stuff. It's just personal preference. Yes, there is other products you can use. Obviously all of them you have to keep off your body fillers, but that's just the way that I find works best for me. So yeah, like I was saying, just air gun over the car, clean rag, making sure that the rag comes back clean, and yeah, after that it's ready to go. Obviously another big thing on a job of this size is making sure you get every little bit that you can at the stages before you actually put the primer on. I had a little bit of 180 sponge pad and also some red Scotch-Brite, so I was just going over a few little areas that might have needed to have touched up sort of as I was doing the cleaning and masking up little bits here and there. So after the car was all cleaned, masked off and all ready to go, I decided I would give the RestoFinish Polyprimer a bit of a stir up before I actually start mixing it to spray. So this here is the RestoFinish Polyprimer that I used on this car, and this stuff is ultra high building, shrinks back minimal, and it's actually really easy to stir up, unlike a lot of other polyester primers, which is one of the main reasons why I chose to use this, because this stuff can sit around for a little bit and it doesn't take you all week to stir it up. So unfortunately I didn't get a whole lot of footage of the first coat going on. I did have my body mount camera thingy on, bumping the microphone, and basically I got a lot of shit footage out of that, which I'm really disappointed about. I should have probably just had my camera on the tripod and just filmed it that way, but it is what it is. The first coat, it went on okay. Usually the first coat of this stuff you put on sort of medium coat, a little bit transparent in a few areas, basically just to get a nice seal around your repairs. Generally, if you bomb on your first coat of really any product, it will actually sort of not bleed in, but sort of suck into your repaired areas. And I find that's sort of what this product doesn't do if you put on that sort of light to medium coat on to start off with, and then follow through with your wetter second coat. But yeah, on with the first coat. So I noticed I had to have my air pressure up a little bit higher than I would have normally liked. I kind of just put that down to, I chose to use my 1.8mm on this one. Previously I'd used the 2.5mm on this stuff, and basically yeah, that was overkill for this type of primer. Other polyester primers, it's probably not so bad, but this one, you can put it through a 1.82mm pretty easily. But yeah, something just fell off, and I ended up just bumping the pressure up, and I kind of just put it down to not remembering the last time I actually sprayed this and what air pressure I sprayed it at. Now, another thing that I haven't mentioned yet is my spray guns. So these here, these are fantastic guns for the money. These are Iwater AZ3 HDE 2s, I think. That's what they are. Something like that. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, this one here has the 1.8mm tip in it, and this one here has the 2.5mm tip in it. Obviously I've switched the pots around. This is usually my epoxy primer pot, and this is my polyester pot. So yeah, this one hasn't seen a lot of use, but this gun hasn't seen a lot of use. So what I ended up doing is I put my 1.8mm setup from this gun into this gun, and I kind of didn't think much of it at the time, but mainly when I come to the bonnet, I noticed there was a few drips, and I thought, okay, maybe I've got the pot a little bit too full and it's leaking out of this or something. Didn't really think much of it. So gave it a little bit of a check over, inspected it, couldn't really see anything. Okay, it's a bit strange, but off I went. Continued on priming. Noticed still the air pressure was a little bit too high for my likings, and then I went to the other side of the bonnet because I'd have this side of the bonnet already done. And basically, when I started to spray, I noticed from here, you got these little, I think they're a packing nut. Can't remember, I think that's what they're called, doesn't really matter. Anyway, there was a lot of fluid coming from that. So I thought, shit, better nip that up. And I'm thinking what the cause of that was because I think you can either have these loose and you get fluid dripping or leaking from that back of that, or from the thread of that nut, or you can have it too tight and it'll cause your needle to stick. And I think because it was a 2.5mm setup, it was set in the wrong spot for the 1.8mm tip. I haven't actually checked if the needle size is actually different in that area, but I'm thinking that's what it might be. So went back to the bench, gave it a little bit of a nip up, thought, okay, cool, I'll just keep going. Fixed my high air pressure problem. Managed to, because there must have been a little bit of an air leak or something like that. My exhaust fan is bloody loud, so forgive me if I didn't hear it. And basically when I started to spray and I let go of the trigger, fluid kept on coming out, the needle had stuck. So it's a little bit hard to see. There's one area here where I actually ended up wiping the drip off. There's another one here that I didn't really just worry about. That's that little guy just there. And this is where the trouble really began. So got a few little drips here, and you can see here where I wiped it with a rag. So it's got a little bit of lint and shit there. And right here is where the real mess is. So that's where the needle was stuck in the gun, and it basically just leaked the polyprimer all over this area and made a real mess. Obviously I did try and give it a little bit of a wipe just to sort of level it out just a little bit, but it is what it is. So as you could imagine, I was pretty pissed about that in the time. I did get myself some acetone, which is what's best, I find, to clean the polyprimer out of your gun, because obviously I had to switch my 1.8 setup from my original 2.5mm gun back into its 1.8mm body, which is stupid because to look at these guns, they're identical, but yeah, it was just that bloody packing nut that gave me a hell of a grief. And I think that's what caused the leaking. Like I said, I'm not sure if they are different, but I'm thinking that they might be, which in my experience with spray guns, wouldn't have even thought about it, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, I can give this a rub, I can reprime it, do whatever with it. It's all cool, I can fix it. But yeah, I did basically give my spray guns a bit of a clean with some acetone, clean all that primer out of one gun, and then chuck that primer back into another gun in a mad rush, because this stuff, in cooler temperatures, you've got about an hour to spray it after it's mixed. So it was pretty warm in here. The day was about 27 degrees. I'd had the heater running, so inside the shed it was probably low 30s, mid 30s, around that sort of area. So yeah, it was going off on me pretty quick. Now it's not all doom and gloom. It is what it is. It's done. I just have to make it work. From here, I can still, obviously this is all going to get rubbed off. Not all of it, but majority of it. Because I mean, this is sort of just a guide to sort of perfect my bodywork, really. Because this primer is such high building, it's really more of a refinement tool than a, quote unquote primer, in my opinion. That's just the way that I'll use it. And the more that I'm thinking about it, I will probably end up blocking this with 120, 180, fix anything that I need to fix, and then I'll put another 3 coats over the whole lot. So the amount of coats of primer that I actually got on this was, I got 2 on the roof, 2 on the bonnet, 2 on the boot lid, 2 down the sides, and then I ended up putting a 3rd just over the tops of the panels, so guards, nose cone, doors, and the rear quarters, just because really they were the areas that I had the most trouble with on this car, because they do have that reverse curve. So I wanted to get a decent amount of build in those areas, And basically that will just give me a little bit more to play around with when it comes to sharpening up a few of those body lines, crisping in on those reverse curves, because they do have sort of like a bit of an archway. Some people call them all different kinds of things. To me, they've always just been called reverse curves. So yeah, that's what I've done there. But anyway, I think that's probably the most I can say about this. It didn't all go to plan, but it's not the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Yeah, it's just another day in the life of Gary. But yeah, it is what it is. Like I said, it's done. It's given me something I can work with. I can still go on with this. There's still lots that I need to do on it. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys and girls. It's been a little bit of a different video. Not really my usual sort of stuff that I get up to, content-wise anyway. But yeah, I kind of found that this was just the best option for this lot of footage that I got. The footage was pretty crap, to be honest with you. Yeah, it was just the way it turned out, really. But yeah, oh well, it's done now. I'll certainly be bringing more content in the future on this sort of stuff, so hopefully it's given me a little bit more of an insight on what I can actually do to improve on the filming side of things, so I can bring you guys a little bit more better content. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, like if you actually enjoy it, or don't like it if you don't. Yeah, share it to your mates, whatever. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.